Hi, my name is Ashton, and today I want to do kind of a fun video where I look at 21 horror movie tropes that are incredibly popular and put them on a little tier list. As a horror writer, I think that this is going to be an interesting way for me to kind of think about what I like to write, to share my opinions with you all, and also, this is a response kind of to a video that my friend Kayla did, and I will also link her video below along with the list that I used. And if I can upload the tier list, I will also do that so that way you don't have to make them because personally I find it to be a little tiny bit of a pain to do so. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is my list. I have It Can Take Me Out as the top tier, which means It Can Take Me Out. I absolutely love this trope. I think I would probably fall for this trope by myself. I want to see it. I don't care how many times it has been done. I want to see it. The second tier is Execution, Makes or Breaks It. So this is something that, like, yeah, I typically like. However, it's not going to be a given for me. So, like, vampires, that's not on this list. And for me, I'm going to watch anything with vampires no matter what, and I'm going to enjoy it just because I kind of like them. Like, they're kind of like my main thing. Whereas this could be, I like it only if it is executed well. The next category is I'll Live, which is if it's in it, it's fine. I don't care one way or another if it's in it. The next one is Convince Me. This is a trope that I typically will not watch, but if you can convince me that it is a good idea, then I will absolutely walk into a horrible situation and for myself and watch it, which is what I did with the Saw movies. I never wanted to watch it, but I had a good reason to. Watched it. The first one was fine. I am still not convinced to watch any of the other ones. And Overrated, this is just a trope that I don't really care for. Maybe I might still watch it, but I don't have any real reason to. I'd much rather spend my time doing literally anything else than watching this or reading it. So, obviously, this is my opinion. That is why you make these videos and why you watch these videos is because it's cool to see other people's opinions on things. So, the first one is no trespassing. Um, for me, now I'm already regretting my tier list on round one. So for me, like, I think that it's a little bit overrated. Yeah, but it's fine if it's in it, but I'm also going to be like, I hope these people die because, or become unalived. I'm so sorry, YouTube. I hope these people become unalived. Just because they are stupid for going into a place that already obviously is not for you. So I'll move it to Convince Me. Not really because somebody needs to convince me to watch it necessarily, but because it's kind of just in between the two of them. Um, Summoning Evil. So I'm gonna put this one under Convince Me also because I really thought that maybe is this one I was gonna put under Overrated. I'm not really a fan of any films that have demonic creatures in it. Like, I'm not really a fan of like the Poltergeist films. I'm not really a fan of anything that kind of falls under that. However, summoning is a completely different thing. Don't ask me why. And so I'm throwing that into Convince Me because I could see why that might be appealing. even though I don't think I would necessarily gravitate towards it. Seeing things in mirrors. Seeing things in mirrors is one of my absolute biggest fears. So I'm going to move that to convince me for a completely different reason than the other two, and that is because I'm personally terrified. Like, there is a scene in my book with mirrors. Nobody else thought it was as scary as I did. It was like 3 a.m. and I ran and woke up my boyfriend because I needed to go to the bathroom, but I needed him to stand on. I needed him to be on standby just in case, something happened in the mirror. I'm weak. Alright, the abandoned place. I really like the abandoned place, which to me is different than no trespassing. Actually, I have the list here of these tropes and kind of what they mean. So, the abandoned place. It could be an old spooky, maybe haunted house, library, school, hospital, asylum, grocery store, prop shop, or cabin. The main thing is that it's empty of everything but fear. So, yeah, this one, like, whenever I think of no trespassing, I really think of a place that is already owned. There might be cameras, etc. Now, the abandoned place might still have that, but I like for them to be secret, and it's more of a dare type situation to go into the abandoned place, or maybe you're hiding from something. I think those are really cool. Um, yeah, I think I might move this up to It Can Take Me Out because it can take me out. Alone in a dark house or building. Same thing with the abandoned place. It can take me out. I associate a lot of the abandoned places with dark houses, not or buildings. That's not necessarily everything, but I also love the idea of being alone. Like, I think when we were all kids and even as adults, the house kind of just like freaks us out a little bit at night, especially like if we're not familiar with it. Like, you move into a new place, you're still not exactly sure like where everything is, and it can just be like a little bit spooky and your imagination runs wild, and I love that. I love that so much. um the next one is the mysterious neighbor. So I've actually ended up enjoying most of the movies with a mysterious neighbor. And I think that the movies that end up pissing me off with the mysterious neighbor are the ones that are no trespassing. So I think I'll go ahead and put this under execution makes or breaks it, because depending on why they are dealing with the mysterious neighbor, then they could make or break the film for me. Bad guy that won't die. I hate it. Like, this is probably my most unpopular opinion, or I don't know, maybe it's not. Maybe you guys hate me for all of them. But the bad guy that won't die, I don't like the yokai. I don't like slasher movies where they won't die. Like, it can be campy and it can be fun, but at the end of the day, if there was a proper way to kill the villain and it seems like it is dead, I want it to die. And this is kind of like my same reason for like why I don't really like watching evil spirits movies. It's just, it's not for me. I don't like the idea of a living entity. And I have a friend staying with me right now, actually, who is the complete opposite of me. She has a very good argument for why she likes this, and we had a really good discussion on it, but still, for me, overrated. Open windows and doors. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Um, I like it so much so that my doors stay deadbolted at all times, and If there is a window open at nighttime and I can feel a draft coming through, I am absolutely terrified of it while also enjoying it, and I will get up in the middle of the night and close it. So good job, horror movies that I've watched before and horror books that I've read. You are contributing to my life fears. Love you. Feeling of being watched. Buddy, that can take me out. I love it. The best part of Long Legs for me was when you could tell that the protagonist was absolutely scared, thinking that something was behind her, just that building of tension without anything actually happening. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Nightmare that may have been real. Um, I like Art House. Nightmare that may have been real is very much up my alley. I really, really like it. Even if it's executed poorly, I still like to see how somebody thinks about it, and I kind of like the trippiness. This is exclusively with nightmares. I'm not necessarily like that with movies such as Inception. I don't really like those, but there's something about like Nightmare where I'm just like, yeah, I like Nightmare. Everywhere Monsters. I'm actually going to read the description on that one because that one doesn't quite make sense to me. Yes, of course, vampires, werewolves, creatures from the deep, and laboratories, 50-foot whatevers, and so on. But don't forget that many of the regular people and characters in your story should be monsters too. Okay, so I kind of prefer if there's just a supernatural entity. Like I kind of like the more like one-on-oneness, but I really like that last line where it was like, and don't forget that that people should be humans too. And because of that, I'm gonna go ahead that people should be monsters too. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put that under execution makes or breaks it. Because if we're talking about humans and how they are very like they can be like the evil, like the monster and all of that, that can be very, very beautiful. Or it can suck. So execution makes or breaks it. I'm cool with that. Death to the fornicators. I didn't grow up in a time where death to the fornicators was a fear. I'm a millennial, and sex is just so much a part of our culture now that I think that the kind of like partying and not paying attention to people and there being a whole revenge arc strictly based off of this is just not really for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Friday the 13th, but I don't think that the motivation, I don't love the motivation on that. No service. So I technically shortened this. It was like no communication, but it didn't really fit properly on here. It's fine. It's fine. I don't really care one way or another on this one. I think that in order to make a lot of horror stories make sense, you kind of have to have no service. So it doesn't make or break a film for me or a book. I'll be right back. Um, so there's a scene in one of my absolute favorite movies where I strongly identify with the protagonist, and he's just like goes off and he's just going to defeat the bad guy all on his own and abandon everybody else. And the entire time I am staring at the screen like, you idiot, don't do it. But I connect with him on a spiritual level. And I know that in that exact situation, I'll be right back. So This one's hard for me because I just think of that example and I always yell at the screen for this. It gets me engaged and I hate it, but it can take me out. This top list is getting very heavy, and that's fine. At least every single list is represented at least once. Because I'll be right back. Like, whether I agree with the decision or not, I do find myself being very actively engaged whenever they use it. Is a very good plot point. Finding old footage. I think this is interesting. As a writer, I really think that this one's interesting of finding old footage. Maybe sometimes I don't totally understand what they're going for, but it's intriguing and sue me. It can take me out. I'm a sucker. Women and children last. I'm also gonna look up this one. This trope can be subverted, but it's usually the case that the seemingly most vulnerable person is the one person most assured of making it to the end of the story, whether that's a shy and bookish young woman or a quiet and often orphan child. I don't care. I don't care. Convince me that's good and worth watching because why? I don't care about this trope at all. Like, let's take Alien, for example. Ripley is a badass woman. I'm fine with that, but based off of this description, I don't understand the point of leaving it so the weak one or the children live to the end. I really think that it should probably be some of the strongest. Now, there's good storytelling to be told from a bunch of different directions with this, but for me, convince me that it's a good story because I probably don't believe you. Splitting up. Is this not different than I'll Be Right Back? Hold on. Let me look up I'll Be Right Back. One of my favorite roles from the movie Scream. If you say you'll be right back in horror, well, it was nice knowing you. You're still splitting up. Okay, so same logic. I like splitting up, whether it's two different groups, like an old school Scooby Doo. Love it. Whether it's one person who's just like, I'm just gonna go check something out and I'll be right back. I love it. I feel like these are very, very similar and I don't love that. One last scare. I think I know what this means, but I'm gonna look this one up too. Originally, I planned to make this a list of 20 horror tropes, but then I remembered one of the most popular tropes of all, one last scare. That one final scare or creepy twist that occurs after everything feels resolved. No. This goes with my whole I don't like yokai, I don't like the villains in slasher movies. Like, I probably won't watch it past the first in the series unless I'm convinced to by whatever reason. It's not for me. I don't like it. I very much appreciate Stephen King for a lot of his books just having like some level of resolve at the end of it. That's what I prefer, and that's where that goes as overrated. Just because for me personally, it's not that I've seen it too much. I mean, I kind of have seen it too much. Overrated. Secret laboratory or base? Convince me. I'm not. I do like some sci-fi horror, but the ones that I really like, John Carpenter's The Thing, Alien, I really like those because the directors are absolutely wonderful. And I don't think it has anything to do with the secretive laboratory or base. For the most part, I just don't care. So convince me. Inclement nighttime weather. It's atmospheric. It makes sense. I just watched Pearl yesterday. and there were some beautiful shots with the weather. I like it. It's great, but it doesn't do anything to a movie for me. So that is my list. It does seem like I'm pretty almost equal, especially if you kind of take away the splitting up. Okay, fine. If you take away the splitting up, then you really have It Can Take Me Out and Convince Me are almost neck and neck. I'm not surprised by this at all. I think I might be a little bit surprised that Execution makes or breaks it, that there's not more in there. Same with I'll Live. Actually, I don't know. I guess it's because it's like 21. I was kind of expecting it to be like maybe here and here, and then like the other three kind of being dispersed in the other categories. But yeah, this all makes sense to me, and I'm gonna stop sharing. So yes, now that I have exposed all of what I like and dislike for the internet to judge, I really do hope that if you've made it to the end of this video that you will engage with me on this. Let me know which tropes you absolutely love. Let me know if you post a video yourself. I will go and check it out because I do think these are interesting, especially if you go into your thought process behind it. And if you like this and you are a horror fan, then please make sure to check out a Taylor Swift But Make It Horror that I post on the 13th of each month. These are stories that are inspired by Taylor Swift songs, and a lot of them are love gone wrong, but not all of them. And I think that it's a great time to kind of combine my love for pop music and her great lyricism with my love for horror. I do also have 31 Tales for Halloween that I posted last year that are also all original short stories, spanning anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 plus. So if you are interested, there's so much content for you to watch, and stay spooky out there. Bye.